D-Roy Cruz here, your Life Applications Officer. Part 2 here of my George Floyd rant. They destroyed downtown Pittsburgh. You know, I really don't get it. And I'm one that does not believe that that black people. Now, again, let me clear you right up. Let me say a couple things here. First of all, I am totally somewhat angry that you know, I watched that video over and over again. I might have felt like just a pinch of emotion. The same kind of emotion that a white person would get after watching that. The same kind of emotion that maybe one of my Spanish neighbors might get when he watched that video of that white cop putting his neck in that black man, putting his knee. I keep saying neck before the knee. It's the knee, then the neck, Cruz. Get it right. Knee, neck. Okay? Putting his neck, his knee, God, his knee in that brother's neck and just holding it there until he died, and he got his hands in his pocket while he's doing it. Okay? That made me angry, but not as nearly as angry as some of the black celebrities. Some of the black people that are in black programming in our cities and so on and so on, okay? It just really did not affect me the way that it's affecting maybe some of y'all. It just didn't affect me that way. And I'm watching these videos even right now of, you know, black people just destroying, you know, New York City. Just destroying Pittsburgh and Chicago and you name it, all around the world, wherever there are inner cities, black folks just, you know, just destroying everything. I don't get it. I don't get where you get off. I really don't. Like I said in the last video, George Floyd was just another brother to me. And you know what else is ironic? Just because a white person kills a black person, that doesn't mean he did it for racial reasons. There are other reasons for two people to murder each other. Okay? There are other reasons for people to murder each other than over race. Now, Mr. Chauvin and Mr. Floyd knew each other. They used to work together. How do you know that George Floyd didn't do something to Derek Chauvin back in the past that provoked him? And this is the other thing that I've seen it so much, you just cry and whiff when you talk to me about how good a black person is after he gets picked up by the cops. He's always a good person. I don't care how much crap is in their life. If they get killed by a white cop, let's go back in time and show you just how good of a person they were. I don't get it. Like, you know what I mean? Like George Floyd, whatever he did good in his life, amongst his wife, his children, his family, his education, the jobs that he's had, his achievements, whatever. Whatever he did good in life, he wasn't doing it the day that he got killed. He got arrested for trying to give somebody a counterfeit 20. If he knew that it was a counterfeit 20, okay? But he was drunk. Not only was he drunk, but the boy, before calling the cops, he went to George and said, hey man, you might want to give the stuff back because your 20 is counterfeit, it didn't check out. George said, no, I'm watching this on video. George said, no, I will not. Get away from my vehicle. Cops show up. They say, oh, well, Floyd didn't resist arrest. His family even said that. Floyd did not resist arrest. He did in that last video I showed you. I showed it to you where he was resisting arrest. But yet, all we see is the part that we want to see. That white man with his hands in his pocket, you know, putting his knee in Floyd's neck, jiu-jitsu style, and killing the poor man until he, you know. And I'm sure the guys that got arrested with him were thinking like, hey, Sarge, you know, Lieutenant, whichever one he was, hey, you sure you don't want to put the guy in the car? I think he learned his lesson now. And it seemed like they put him in the police cruiser and then took him back out because he was acting up in a police cruiser. I don't know. I'd have to look at it again. But the guy was handcuffed. He wasn't going nowhere. He was drunk, so he's not even stable enough to fight you or hurt you. Okay, but they, you know, and I'm sure there's more to the story than, I'm sure there's more to the story than what you even saw on video, you know? I mean, look at these pictures, man. Like, really. Like, look at this. My God. Just look at that. Right here where I catch my bus. You know, so I'm really, really lucky that I'm really, really lucky that I didn't get a bus downtown on Saturday. I'm lucky that they shut the buses down and made me have to get a ride with a friend, because if I had made it downtown, I probably wouldn't have made it home. Okay? Or I probably would have went to jail for stabbing somebody or pepper spraying the wrong person or something, because I'm already pissed anytime I see black people act a fool. I have no problem stabbing one of y'all, shooting one of y'all, pepper spraying one of y'all, kicking one of y'all in the groin. I have no problem. Even if it ain't my business, just like it ain't your business to try to defend George Floyd, because he's not a friend of yours, he's not a relative of yours, you got no history with him. The guy that killed him got more history than your black behind does. Okay? So, you know, if I saw y'all put your hands on a white female in front of me, which I heard some of that in the news, okay, I'm sorry, I'm going to jail. Because I'm not going to watch y'all use this man's death to hurt other people that ain't got nothing to do with the crime. I'm about to go to jail for stabbing somebody, pepper spraying somebody, or making sure somebody, will never, ever, ever have any kids for the rest of their young life, okay? Because I'm sick and tired. I don't like violence. I don't like, you know what I'm saying? Like, when I get into it with people, okay? Like when I get into it with white people walk away. They tell me, they get up my face, tell me what's up, and they walk away. They dare me to follow them, okay? They dare me try that black stuff on them, hold up, walk up on them, what I mean? Because they ain't afraid of my little behind. But black folks, they don't even let me talk. It's like, I listen to them, and I say, I understand you, sir, I understand you. I understand you, and they're getting all up in my face. I understand you, but try to listen to me. I'm trying to help you here, and they're all up in my face. How you gonna do that to me, man? How you gonna, I know you people. These riots are nothing new to me. You looking for some old lame excuse to put your hands on a white man or a white woman or somebody else that's non-black is crying wolf to me. Like I don't care who gets killed. I don't care who gets killed. I don't care if 20 George Floyds got killed senselessly all on the same day, at the same moment. They just pop. The cops just found them, and without even figuring out what they was arresting for, they just shot them down. You know what? I still don't want to see no black people going around here putting hands on anybody because, or anybody's property, because you do that more than anybody else. You have beat the Ku Klux Klan. You have beaten, riots in Mexico, riots in China and Japan, and you know what I'm saying? You done beat everybody at being an idiot. And you can't wait to get violent. You look for reasons to get violent. I mean, I've tried to have conversations with black people, and I've watched countless white people try to have conversations with black people. But see, you know what it is? It's a virus. It is a virus. I was talking to another black friend of mine at work today. And I said, you know what, I'm going to do this video tonight. I'm going to call it the George Floyd virus. The George Floyd virus. The Trayvon Martin virus. The, the ghetto virus. Whatever. It's that virus that does two things. It says, first of all, I'm inferior. I'm a victim to systematic white racism and white privilege. It doesn't matter that I'm seeing more Asians and more Mexicans and more Indians when I walk outside my door every night or every day, and less whites. I'm still a victim of systematic white racism and white privilege. It doesn't matter that I can, go to college like I couldn't do in the 80s. It doesn't matter. Like I can go into real estate, and I got white people and black people that'll walk me through it. I can, I can have whatever I want. I can move next door to my worstest racist white enemy. I can move right next door to him and say, if you don't like it, you get out. I can do whatever I want to do. If there's anything I'm not doing, it's because I'm not willing to put the work into it like some of my white counterparts are doing. Has nothing to do with me being a victim. If there's something I can't do, it's because I honestly can't do it. If there's something I'm not doing, it's honestly because I don't want to do it. I don't want to put the work and the dedication into it a lot of my white friends have put into it. Whether that's part of my IQ or my blood, I don't care. I just know that it has nothing to do with them. It's on me. It's on me. This ain't nobody's fault but mine. And I learned that a long time ago. In a very racist town called Somerset. Right here in Pittsburgh. Probably about 2 hours away from where I'm sitting. Every summer, 7 days of camp. And I've dealt with the difference when a white man accepts Jesus Christ as his personal Lord and Savior. Now, this is what I love about white people in the church, because they're very flexible. If you don't bring black people into the white church, white people will get complacent and they'll figure, well, black folks ain't here, so I guess we can act dumb about who they are and what they're going through, and we can just exclude them. Now, some of them, I've had, when I was in Job Corps, here we go again. I know y'all tired of hearing me talk about Job Corps. When I was in Job Corps, there were white people. One of the most lovable churches I'll never forget in my entire life. I'll never forget them. On my deathbed, I'll remember this Assembly of God church. This guy begged me to come to church. And Hazleton, Pennsylvania at that time was very segregated. So was Somerset. Okay? But Job Corps came later. And they knew the problems that we were having on the Job Corps Center with people being out on parole. And they still invited us to come to the church because they believed that even if you bring a black man in here that hates white people and he's out on parole, we know how to love him enough that we will set him straight. They were not afraid of us. They were not afraid of even these guys that were, jail pigeons. Okay? I'm not allowed to say jailbait. I found out what that word is. I'm not allowed to say jailbait anymore. When I say jailbait, I love to use that word jailbait, but I'm not allowed to use that anymore. But anyway, these guys that I would call jailbait, okay, they didn't mind bringing them into the church, and they knew that if they come to church and hear the word and receive the love of these white people, they would go back to the Job Corps Center over time, not overnight, but over time, a new person. They believe by faith that they'll knock that black victimization, that black virus, that black, disease, they'll love it right out of you. And in camp showed me that black people being victims of racism, and that is more up here. Jesus camp showed me that black people, I'm going to call it Jesus camp because, you know, it was our church, the church's camp under our name. But let's get real, it was Jesus camp. It was all about Jesus. It wasn't about denomination as much as it was about Jesus. But I know that, am I recording? Oh, I am, okay. I know that I know that the problem amongst black people having problems with white people is up here. Because when I was in camp, in good old racist Somerset, and these black kids didn't know nothing about the history of Somerset. White people told me the history of Somerset, okay? And a boss I used to work for told me the history of Somerset, how racist it was. And Deroy Cruz was the guy that got picked up at the bus station by a racist white woman who was afraid the racism in that city, that town was so strong that she was afraid that someone would lynch her for giving me a ride to the campground. And I knew the lady, and I begged her. Now, you wouldn't get me to do that today as an older person, but I was younger back then. It was my last, I'll never forget it, it was my last day at camp. My last camp meeting at camp. It was camp meeting. Camp's over, we had camp meeting now. This woman came by. She was doing a cab service, and I knew the woman from somewhere earlier when I was there before. I knew her. I didn't know she was a cab driver, and she recognized me. Okay? They lie when they tell you that they think that all black people look alike. Now that's an inside joke. They don't really think that way. She knew me and I knew her. We did not. We knew each other. And I begged her. I says, she was the last cab leaving, and the person at the bus station. Now the bus station's a little bit different because they're used to people coming in and out of there traveling. You got to cut through Somerset sometime to get to other places when you're traveling through the state. But this woman never left Somerset. She never been out of Somerset. And so she thought that she could come up to the bus station and, you know, refuse me a cab ride. But I saw her leaving, and I told her, I said, ma'am, you know me. Please, really? I'm just going down the street. I'm going 6 miles down the street. I don't want to walk for 6 miles. Now, I'll walk if I have to, but I got luggage. I says, you're the only one leaving, you know, and I'll pay you whatever you need me to pay you, whatever. This woman took me down. She tried to get out of it, and even the lady, the white lady, they were all white, ain't no black people there. Even the lady at the counter was like, you sure? Like, you can't take him? Like, we want to get him out of here. You know, imagine that. So, she's like, oh. So she took me, she put me in a cab, and she really, really, really felt bad about it. She had a mixture of feeling good and feeling bad because she knows that how many black people, and I'm sure there's many, who tried to get in that cab when they found her up there, and she found a way to drive off without them. And that was her AMO. That was her thing. But she didn't get away with it with me that day. God was with me. Let me tell you something. God was with me. God has been with me through every racist situation I've been in. That's the difference between me and the majority of black people, okay? is that God has been with me through all my racist problems. Whereas for you, you don't believe in praying for these things, and you don't believe God, so naturally, you're going to suffer this, okay? Now, mind you, she takes me down there in the cab. She was so upset and confused that she didn't even charge me. I don't think she charged me. I had 20 in my hand, and we're only going 6 miles, okay? She didn't even charge me. I think she kicked me out of her cab, figure of speech. She kicked me out of her cab. Just go, just go. I had 20. She didn't want to give me change or nothing. She just go, just go. I don't even know what to charge you. Just go, just go. She kicked me out of the cab. And then again, I seen her later, I think again, and she was more humble that time. The thing is, I'm the guy that got in the cab with the racist white lady. A lot of y'all would have said, she don't want to take me. I won't go. You'd have been stranded at that bus station. The police would have made you walk out of there and take your luggage with you. You'd have been dragging out luggage for 6 miles because they would have said, you can't stay here forever, But I was determined to get a ride from this woman because I was not afraid of her. Neither was I afraid of her racist attitude towards me. Because you know what? I'm good for it. I'm good for it. I trust myself. Okay? Got down there, and the thing I learned in camp meeting, Somerset, between 1981 and what was it? 1986. 1986 was my last rodeo down there, and I had a white kid at one time set fire to my back pocket, and then when he seen I got offended by it, he wanted me to meet him out in the woods to fight about it. He couldn't fight worth a lick. But I had friends out there who knew me longer than they knew him. And they knew that he was just being very, very unchristian. And this is a Christian campground. They were not going to let him hurt me. I kicked his butt. But even if I didn't, them white boys would have jumped him anyway. Okay, they was not going to let him hurt me. If he had been beating the spit out of me, they'd have jumped on him. I believe that with all my heart. I believe that with all my heart. They wasn't going to let him hurt me, but because he kept coming at me, they let me fight him because they knew I'd win. Okay, so really it was 3 against 1 when it got right down to it. Now it looked like it was 3 against this one when we went up to the field, but I knew that even if I lose this fight, I'm going to win because these white boys are going to pull this white boy off me. I just knew it. Because why? Because first of all, the Spirit of the Lord was there. And second of all, I'm DeRoy Cruz. If I really, really, really was afraid of your racism, and if I had racism towards you, I would not be in this baseball. I would not even come up to this field alone with you. Do you know that most of the people that went to my church were afraid of Somerset? They were scared to death. They're afraid of Somerset, Pennsylvania. They were afraid of youth camp. Just one girl, I told her, I said, you're going to come to camp. You're going to be my date for the banquet. We have a banquet at the end, and good, you're coming. Nothing freaky, just a date, sweetie. You're going to come, and you're going to be my date. She said, okay. She was all happy about it until she got out there, and she said, where's all the black people? I said, Oh, well, usually I forgot to tell you about that. Usually I'm the only black person here. I'm glad you and your sister came. That makes 3 of us. Okay? 3 blacks out of what, 100 people. 3 of them happen to be black, okay? But there were white people who wanted to learn. They wanted to understand what is the difference. There's white people who wanted to learn, why do we really, really hate each other? Why can't we get along? Why are we afraid to cross that line? And we didn't cross that line just by having conversations with each other and learning about each other, but we crossed them lines in relationships. You know, white girl with black eye and vice versa, black girl with white eye, and, you know, with the little bit of black people we had out there, they even felt that I shouldn't sit alone at the banquet when there was no black girl to be there for me, to sit at the banquet table with me. A white girl would always ask me, could she sit with me at the banquet table? The part I'm feeling bad about is when I first won Mr. Youth Camp. How come I didn't invite the white girl that was sitting next to me to sit at the honor table with me? I left her sitting there with an empty chair next to her. I didn't know I was going to win, but I won. I won twice. Okay? And the second time, I wanted a date, but didn't have one. Okay? But then after the thing was over, there was like 6 white girls saying, oh, I could have sat with you, Cruz. I could have sat up there with you. You know what I mean? It's just a date, right? They wanted to look good up there with the winner, you know. I won, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? And twice, you know, I won. You know, I got these white girls carrying my trophy out for me, and it was just a glorious thing. And it wasn't because, you know, just because I had a thing for white girls, which I did, but it was also because there were no blacks taking their rightful place in my life. These white people stood up and took that place in their place. They did not want to see me sitting alone. They did not want me to win pointlessly. They did not want me to, you know, say that, oh, there's racism in the name of Jesus. We're going to be racist to him in the name of Jesus. They did not want to, you know, have to go home and lie to their parents and lie to their church family about the experiences that we had at camp. They didn't want to do that. They wanted to be very, very honest, and they wanted to say stuff like, hey, I met a new friend. His name is D-Roy. Okay? And they didn't even bother to let their family know that I was black. Okay? And I've been through that too, where, you know, I go over my friends that I met at camp. I go over their house. They live way in some uppity up suburban town here in Pennsylvania that's way far away from Pittsburgh. They're up in there, and I go in there, and their parents are very, 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 very leery of me, especially when it's a female that invites me. The parents just go goofy. But even in that, you know, these young ladies, these young men, we had that relationship. And you know, what's beautiful with blacks and whites being friends is when you can get to that place to where we can be honest with each other. And it doesn't mean that I'm trying to look down on the color of your skin, or I'm trying to look down on you because, you know, you don't come from the same wealth patterns that I come from. Okay? But I mean, me and my white friends, we used to get in fights with each other and arguments with each other You know what I'm saying? And not once did anybody feel like, oh, it's a white boy versus a black boy, it's racism. No. They would say stuff to us like, do we need to do we need to assign a room for y'all? Y'all need to get a room? Or, they would say jokes like, do y'all need a room? Or is there trouble in paradise? Or do we need a marriage counselor for you guys or what? I mean, we was going at it. Okay? But it was just like that, where a white guy can call me stupid because I did something stupid. And I can call him something because he got me wrong, okay? But it doesn't mean that he's racist. And it doesn't mean that I'm racist. It just means that we've crossed that narrative to where we can be brothers or brothers and sisters, and there's no race in there. But I found out that young people, can do this better than adults. I mean, just recently, over the last 5 years, met somebody that I used to go to camp with. And I had to let her husband know, no offense, but I know your wife. We won Mr. and Mrs. Youth Camp together. Sorry, sir. He says, oh, really? Yeah. But I mean, she's just being faithful to you. That's all she's doing. She's being faithful to you. She don't want you thinking that she's been dipping. Okay, and I know her. She's not like that. She's a good woman. She's been a good woman as long as I know her, but she's trying to act like she don't know me. Here. Ask her who sat at the table with her at youth camp in 1984. Who sat next to her at youth camp? Okay, just ask her. What was the black dude's name that sat next to her at youth camp? Who was Mr. Youth Camp in 1984? So, I mean, we do that as adults. We get those hang-ups where it's like, oh, God, And the kids seem to have more faith and more, they're more relaxed about coming together with other races and so forth than their parents are, than their adult brothers and sisters and cousins and uncles and aunts and all them are. That's just the way it was. And it's been like that everywhere. It's been like that in camp. It was like that in McKeesport, Pennsylvania, where I grew up at. I mean, it was like that. Like, I had friends from all over the globe. Okay? I had white friends. I had Spanish friends. I had a Hawaiian girlfriend. I had, even some Asians used to hang out with us. You know what I'm saying? But when we got old, it was like, oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, we did. Yeah. How you Gardens apartment? You know what? I gotta go. I gotta go. I gotta go work. What's your name? What's your name again? Delroy? Yeah. Nice meeting you, bud. Have a nice life. I gotta go. I mean, when we become adults, we just screw it all up. But the fact of the matter is that I got rid of my virus. In closing, I'm going to do a part 3 of this. I got rid of my virus a long time ago. At youth camp is the point I'm making here. because of the white people that showed me that it is possible for whites and blacks to love each other. You want to see me cry when I run into white men and women that never forgot me. And they, like me, I thought I was, I almost cried at our last men's summit a year or two ago, when one of the guys that I used to share a bunk room with, I used to share a dormitory room with in Jesus camp, he looked across the table at me and he recognized me. He said, "What's going on, D-Roy?" And okay. I get choked up when I think about, all that's going on and then how I overcome this stuff. But he says to me, "What's going on, D-Roy?" And we was pointing the finger at each other. Youth camp, that's right. And we had to get each other's last name out of our mouths, okay? But he didn't just stop. Go ahead. He didn't just stop at, "Hey, D-Roy, what's going on, buddy? It's been a long time." He wanted to come over and meet my pastor and meet the brethren from my church. And he pulled up a chair and he sat down next to me. And, he began to tell my pastor all the bloopers. All the bloopers that we had at camp, everything from driving the go-kart into the haystack, okay, to me leaving my clothes at home and didn't have nothing to wear, and they had to buy me clothes, and the jokes that we used to tell, stuff that I did not even remember. He refreshed my memory. The fact that this man never forgot me, and now he's a pastor. His son is a youth pastor. Beautiful, lovely daughter. Beautiful, lovely wife. Everybody saved, his household. Beautiful church. Leadership. Man. This is why I can't follow you, black people, when you hate. Because I know it's not that hard for us to it's not hard, and this is not just to black people, but it's to white people as well. Because a lot of white people go way out of proportion with trying to show how we're different. They're trying to figure out, well, Cruz, we're different. Yeah, we're different. How are we different? What do you mean we're different? Oh, well, we're different in what we eat. You got to do better than that, brother. Well, we're different in how we talk. You got to do better than that. We're different in you know what I mean? Like, the water, the land, animals, blah, 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 blah. Very true. 100% truth there. But you got to do better than that. None of that calls for separation. And I remember my friend Keith, who, we're friends again. We're back to being buddies again. And he texts me every day. Every single day he texts me. If not one, about 100. Okay? He texts me every day. He lets me know everything. Everything that's going on in his life. Everything that's going on. You know, when he found out I was a Trump supporter, now I got to hear about that every day too. Okay? But he texts me every day. Every single day. And I got pictures of me and him. You know, when I had my first car, he's special because he rode in my very first car. He drove in my second car. He drove it because I didn't know how to get there, and I didn't, you know, he helped. We used my car. We took turns driving it. We travel so many places together, man. You know what I'm saying? He picked me. Out of all these wealthy, highly educated, business owners, white business owners that he could be traveling the country with, he picked me. Because, first of all, I'm a Christian. And I'm the guy that he prayed with, and the guy that counseled him the day that he came, and he says, "Oh, I just came to know the Lord this week." And we met up at camp meeting, and he rode me home. I think I was supposed to go home on the bus, or no, I was going to ride home with some black friends of mine, some black people from my church. And we were all squished. He says, "I'll take you home." And so I rode home with him. And after that, it was like, you know, buddies. You know, we just every Saturday, you know, there was about 2 or 3 of us getting together. And he used to even take me on his dates with him. And I'm thinking, look, man, I don't want to be like a third wheel, man. But even his dates, their families and that, they wanted me around. Like, there's a side of white people, especially in the church. There's a side of white people that as long as you keep throwing that race card at them, you'll never get to see it. But when you sit there and you say, "Hey, I'm going to take a racist choke for this," like, I know I'm going to hear some nigger language for this. I'm hanging myself by being here, whatever. You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised at what you come up with. Okay? You'd be surprised. And I think, let me get off myself for a minute, but I think about people like in the blues music, for example. The blues is a good example. All the white people that have merged into the blues community. And I think about, you know, people like, what was his name? Stevie Ray Vaughan. And his relationship with so many blues black musicians. Everybody from B.B. King to Muddy Waters to, you know what I'm saying, Buddy Guy, you name it. And when I see these black men come to give tribute to a white man, that they had one thing in common, and it was the blues. Okay? For me to see videos where Eric Clapton, over and over and over again, Eric Clapton and B.B. King hugging each other. You know, and all the people that were involved in the blues, you know what I'm saying? Hugging each other and, you know, high-fiving each other, and they practice that song just right. You would think that, oh, you need another brother, BB, to play that song, to play backup to that song with you. No. They worked hard enough. They did whatever they needed to do to make that song just right. They wasn't going to let their racial genes get in the way. But they did it just right. I just can't understand how so many people are accused, so many white people are accused of systematic racism when, they're always out in the sun. They want to be dark like us. They're even braiding their hair. They want to be dark like us. They wanna wear their hair like us. Some of them are even wearing weaves now. The women. They want to be dark like us. They want to sing like us. They want to rap like us. They want to, what I'm saying? And here you are. Here you are, It kills me when I go over to some white guy's house and most of the records in his stash is all Motown. It's all music. It's all black music. It's all rhythm and blues, Motown, What's the other one? I forget. There's another one, Motown, and then there's the other one. They got all that. And, when they're in the car with other white people, they're listening to, some country song because they want to please everybody. They want to play something that please everybody. But then you go to their house, you find out that this person got some Negro in them. He got a lot of Negro in him. You know what I mean? Everything from music to food. And I remember having a conversation with a white girl, when I was on the road with my buddy Keith. And she overheard me talking about my attraction to this one, white girl that was in the room next to us, and me and my friend Keith were laughing about it. And I didn't know they could hear through walls because I forget how loud I am because I only got one ear. And I didn't know she could hear me over there. And when they came over and told me that they heard me over there talking about her, she did not get offended. She did not ignore me. She clearly, basically, left it open for me to ask her out. Like, okay, I heard you talking, now what? And my friend Keith was like pushing me, like, man, I think you should ask her out to dinner, or something, man. I didn't have the balls, But I mean, my point of saying all these things that I've said is that I got over this George Floyd virus a long time ago. Not only did I learn that there's a side of white people that I know how to get to that good side of them. I know how to get to that side. I know how to make them comfortable putting down their racist thoughts and beliefs and stereotypes. You know what I'm saying? Because that racism for them is a type of armor. It's a type of armor. And I mean, everything from me getting out of people's cars and walking the rest of the way home to kicking people out of my own car and making them, and leaving them stranded somewhere, over them saying wrong things inside my car or me saying the wrong thing inside theirs. You know what I mean? You learn from these things. It doesn't mean that, we're victims of systematic racism. Next time I got to go through something with white people, I'm going to break some windows and rob Target. I mean, it doesn't boil down to that. But you learn from these things. And I don't think that half the black people who are always crying about racism have been through as much racism as I've been through. I've been through enough racism because I don't run from white people. I don't hide from white people. I don't ignore white people. I leave it up to white people to show their true colors around me. I leave it open for them to show their true colors around me. Okay? I'll tell all the black people go in the other room. Like, be honest with me, man. Honesty is the best policy. And I've been honest with a lot of whites, and they've been honest with me, and we sat down and had a dialogue about these things. And you talk about conversations, man. I've had a lot of conversations with white people. There's a lot of conversations that I did not have with other religions, you know, and even other races out there, you know. I'd like to have a conversation with some of these Asian women, you know, but they always run. But the thing is, I've had these conversations with white people. If there's anybody I've had conversations with, it's been white people. And I know how they feel. I don't have to ask them anymore. I know how they feel about these riots. And I know the difference between, like I said last night, somebody who is honestly racist because the minute he sees me, oh, he needs to talk about racism. He needs to apologize for something because I walked into the room. To me, that's a racist. But when people are ready to be honest with you, and even if that means that they tell you more than they tell everybody else how wrong you are, at least they're being honest with you. And I like white people to be honest with me as I'm honest with them. But when you tell me that, oh, I'm a victim, you poor black people, I'm so sorry for what they did to George Floyd. You're a racist. Stop it. Why do you think I need you to apologize to me for what happened to George Floyd? George Floyd ain't no relation to me. I mean, I feel sorry for the man. I feel sorry for the family. And like I said, you know, if I really, 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 really wanted to really help Floyd or his family, I would, you know, I just got my tax money today. If I want to, I could write out a check. That's the way I protest. Because that's the way of America. America is about money. Throw money at the situation. Throw money at the situation. Get the right lawyer and the right jury in that you need to win cases. But don't protest and riot. And you know what? These white people can sit there and say, oh, I'm so sorry for you black people, all they want to. They know don't nobody else do this but us. They ain't seen no Mexicans go out there and riot like this. They ain't seen no Asians go out there and riot like this. They ain't seen no Indians go out there and riot like this. Well, the Taliban, you know, the Islamic Brotherhood, yeah, they do riot. They do, you know, that crap that they did in Europe a couple of years ago. Yeah, that was all brown Islamic people. You know, brown skinned Islamic people. Those were all Arabs. Okay. Yeah, other races do it too. But come on, black people. Nobody does it like we do it, nor as much as we do it. And the more and more people get this, it's all about honesty. It's all about honesty. The more people that can be honest about it, the better off we are. Okay? I get sick and tired of black people acting like they can understand why black people... Okay, well, if you can understand why they're doing these riots, why ain't you out there doing a riot? If you can understand their anger, why are you not angry? But you're not helping anything by refusing to be honest with black people and say enough is enough. There's a fine line between black people and other black people. It's a fine line. There's a fine line between all this. But I'm going to close there because I don't want this to really be that long. I'm going to do part 3 of this. I still have to show you some excerpts from 2 now. It's 2. Jesse Lee Peterson clips that I watched this week during these riots, and I want you to see them. Jesse Lee says it better than I'll ever say it. So, not that I'm agreeing 100% with everything Jesse Lee Peterson says, because I don't. But he hit the nail on the head. I want you to see it. He can say it better than I can say it. Okay, God bless you, D. Roy Cruz, your life applications officer. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more. Maybe tomorrow. In Jesus' name. Amen. All right.